Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Red with only one Tentacool was a quick run. Let's follow that up with a potentially quicker one. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Black with a team of only one Audino. This one gets requested a lot. Audino is kind of like Gen 5's Chansey in that it's a normal type medic Pokemon, although its stats are a lot less extreme. It's like if Chansey's stats were all leveled out a little bit more. That might actually make it great for solo runs though. By level up, it learns a lot of weird support moves meant for double battles, but it gets Secret Power, and that's a really cool move that could act kind of like a slightly weaker Body Slam in gym battles. What's much more interesting is our TM move list, because it's so incredibly long that I'm gonna have to chop it up just to put it on screen. We can't learn quite all of these TMs, since a lot of TMs in this game are post-game, but there's still plenty that we can learn. Gen 5 is when TMs became reusable, and that means we can freely switch moves back and forth between fights if we need to. That sounds like a lot of fun. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I bet that we can handle most of the game at whatever level we arrive at, but the Elite Four in this game tends to be pretty tough. I could see us having to grind a lot once we get there. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Audino. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Snivy with Audino so that we can do the whole run with it. I name him Chansey, because that's hilarious. Our nature is serious, so neutral stat gains. I'm fine with that, although in a perfect world, I'd like more attack and less special defense. We only start with Pound for attacking moves, but we're a pretty strong Pokemon for before the first gym, so we should be fine. So the early game travel is all super easy. We're actually a stronger Pokemon than you can normally catch here. I'm pretty sure that you can't catch an Audino normally until right after the first gym, but I could be wrong on that. Either way, we're going to be able to take a lot more hits than anything else that we're fighting, and that has a huge impact on the early game. I expect things to go pretty smoothly until around the normal gym. I mean, look at the first Sharon fight if you want to have an idea of just how smooth things are going right now. We are not a super strong Pokemon, and we're using a really basic move, but it's just too much for them to handle this early in the game. Okay, never mind. I was sitting here thinking that the first gym would be super easy, and yeah, I guess it was still a first try, but would you look at how close the fight is? We were one hit away from fainting after we traded shots for ages. That has me a bit more worried about the normal gym. At least the Charon fight right after was super easy. Rival fights in this game tend to be easy though, at least for most of them. Alright, so we're traveling, and I'm not really sure how the next part of the run is gonna go. I know the next time we fight N, he's gonna have low kick, so there's a chance that he could really mess us up. Assuming that our high defense holds out though, we can probably still win. The normal gym though? I don't know. They always start with Intimidate, and our attack isn't exactly incredible, so they're probably gonna have a lot of chances to hit us. Plus, even if we take out our first Pokemon, she often uses Retaliate to take us out. Who knows though, maybe our high defense and health will be enough that she thinks she has to use other moves first. That's typically how she ends up throwing the fight, so I could see that happening. Okay, let's hope for the best. So I was right in expecting that low kick was going to be a problem, but not for the reasons that you'd think. We can just hardly win the exchange if we don't get crit, but we got crit 3 different attempts in a row to lose. We give them a lot of chances to attack, so this isn't necessarily as unlucky as it sounds. I mean, if a crit is a 1 in 24 chance and they attack you more than 10 times in a fight, then it's basically a coin flip on if you're going to get crit or not. Karma came right back around on the 4th try though, because we ended up critting him instead. We totally didn't need the crit, but whatever, it was funny. The trainers in the normal gym should give me a chance to level to 20 so I can learn Secret Power before the gym leader fight. Think we'll stand a chance? I kinda think we're gonna lose. Okay, well, this might be the greatest Gen 5 normal gym fight of all time. Right away, our attack is down the whole fight, so I start with Attract as Herdier uses Leer on us. I go for Secret Power just to end up critting as it was immobilized by Love. She healed back up with a Super Potion as we hit Pound, but we just crit again when we went back to Secret Power, so she's down. For Watchog, I went for Secret Power just to do almost nothing, as Watchog used Leer. I don't know why she didn't use Retaliate when my defense was already down, but whatever. I hit Attract as he used Leer again, so our defense is super low now. We then start hitting Secret Power, quickly paralyzing her as she's either immobilized or uses Leer again every turn. Guys, I just beat the normal gym because she used Leer the entire fight. I know they like to say that Gen 5 is heavily based on Gen 1, but this is ridiculous. I'm traveling, but I'm still kind of trying to process that normal gym fight. I guess maybe because our health and defense were high, they felt the need to keep dropping our defense by more before they attack. But like, I promise you, if they were just using Takedown and Retaliate the whole fight, we would have lost. We weren't hitting hard at all, we just got some lucky crits. That Secret Power is kind of awesome this early. I don't know why I don't use it more often. I guess it's only really awesome if you're a normal type, but it hits reasonably hard and can give all kinds of afflictions depending on where you're fighting. It's paralysis if you're indoors, so super useful in gym battles. Basically a slightly weaker body slam, at least indoors. Anyway, next is the Bug Gym, Bianca, and Sharon. Maybe I'm just overconfident, but I feel really good about the upcoming part of the run. We still only have normal moves, so the Bug Gym's rock type could be an issue, but at this point, I think they might just spam affliction moves forever. The AI seems to act like we're tankier than we actually are. Well, I'll gladly go pick up the rest TM then. I don't know when I'll learn it, but I figure I'll probably want it soon. I love that the TMs are reusable in Gen 5. It lets you get so much more creative with your moveset when you're allowed to swap them between battles. Okay, so the Bug Gym was a loss, but I think we're not far off of beating it. We have Refresh, so I'm not worried about getting poisoned, but the problem is that Dwebble takes forever for us to take out. We paralyze it early on, but it still gets quite a few hits in on us, and the gym leader likes to use potions to heal back up. Plus, it uses Sand Attack sometimes, and just getting hit once by that is enough to cast a ton of doubt on our ability to win. I'll go get rest, level up a few times, and then try again. 3 levels later, and this Bug Gym was insane. So the Dwebble fight takes entire minutes, and that's saying something considering how fast the text moves in this game. Sand Attack is the issue. We get hit by 6 of them. We have rest now, so we can heal back up, but they are literally running out of power points, hitting us over and over. Eventually, we took it out. I assumed I was doomed against Leavanny, but it actually wasn't hitting us that hard. It was using Razor Leaf though, and I know that it crits more, so I always tried to keep my health above half and used Pound and Secret Power whenever I was awake. We'd usually miss, but once in a blue moon we'd get a hit. I don't think we ended up getting crit by a single Razor Leaf the entire time, although Leavanny did start wasting a lot of turns with Protect and String Shot. I think String Shot was just because we were faster after paralyzing him. The fight took a grand total of 6 minutes with animations off and fast text. For Gen 5, that is a super long fight. Often, like, Getsus and N fights only take 3.5 minutes. And yet, we won! I think I love this run. After that, we absolutely bulldoze Bianca, as we usually do in that fight. Then we go on to completely destroy Charon right after. This fight is sometimes rough because of the sandstorm, but we have rest, so I wasn't really worried. There are more TMs that we can get access to now. First of all, we can get Dig, and that's great because it would finally give us a non-normal type attacking move. Problem is, the Electric Gym is coming up, and most of her team flies, so Dig might not be that useful there. We can also get Return, and that's absolutely an upgrade over Pound. I might still keep Secret Power for a while though. The Paralysis is still pretty good. Plus, there's no TM for Secret Power in this game, so I kinda don't want to replace it until I know for sure that I won't want it anymore. Let's go take out N and the Electric Gym, then reassess our moveset. So the N fight was super easy on the first try, and that's with him using Whirlwind to send in my HM dude, so I had to send Audino back in and give them 2 free hits on us with Psybeam. It did just about nothing, so we were fine. The Electric Gym was a revolving door of Pokemon as she used Volt Switch nearly every turn, as usual. We got paralyzed taking out the first Emolga, but both of them went down pretty quickly in one hit. Both were crits, although I really doubt I needed them to be. In the end, we took quite a bit of damage, but thanks to rest, I don't think we were ever in any real danger. It's awesome being so tanky. We might not do much damage, but we have a long time to heal back up and keep trying. And of course, Charon went down easily. I don't think this Charon fight is ever hard. Man, I feel like we're on a roll. We're a bit over-leveled just because we're in the fast leveling category, but hey, I'm not complaining. I've hardly had to fight any wild Pokemon, so I really appreciate that. It's only a matter of time before we run into ghost types though, so we can't keep this roll going forever. Plus, the ground gym has steel types in it. I'm thinking I might actually need to replace Return with Grass Knot just for that gym. It does damage based on weight, and he uses some heavy Pokemon, so I figure it'll get us an easy win. Then we have some rival fights and the Celestial Tower, so I'll need to get something that can hit ghosts in there. I could grab the Charge Beam from out front, but that won't hit the ground types, so I'm thinking I'll use Grass Knot again when I get there. We don't really get any good special move TMs until at least Twist Mountain, so let's go make some progress. So the ground gym actually took a bunch of tries. Grass Knot one-shots most of his team, but only does slightly more damage than Secret Power against Excadrill. I was even using a Miracle Seed to boost the grass damage a bit. This means I just have to rely on paralyzing him, using Rest often, and hitting him when we can. Now if he was smart, he'd just spam Hone Claws and then overpower us, but he isn't, so he keeps using stuff like Slash. We won eventually, but it took a few tries before we could avoid being crit into oblivion. Oh, and of course, Bianca just outside was a cakewalk. Nothing to worry about. Alright, so the more I think about Celestial Tower, the more I think it's really gonna be a pain. Yeah, I can use Grass Knot to hit them, but most Ghost Pokemon weigh just about nothing, so it's probably gonna have 20 power. Who knows though, we level up fast enough that we might be able to totally overpower them anyway. Speaking of, there's an end fight coming up with a bunch of Steel and Rock types, and I'm just gonna brute force it with normal moves. Do you think we'll even drop into yellow health? Nope. They did exactly 50 damage to us across the entire fight, and some of that was just from one of their abilities. We're still doing great. So Grass Knot did manage to get us through Celestial Tower, but I ended up dying in here a few times. It hardly does anything since the ghosts don't weigh anything, but they hardly hurt us either, so it's not that bad. I mean, until one uses Curse. Then we lose the fight and I have to run all the way back and keep trying until they don't use Curse. It's miserable, but it didn't take that long. Oh, and I grabbed a Charge Beam while I was outside. I figure it'll be great in the Flying Gym. Yeah, the Flying Gym ended up being pretty easy. Honestly, we really didn't need Charge Beam for this. Secret Power was just as good, if not better, against most of them. Still, I could see this being really useful in other fights. And Sharon, on the way out of town, was no problem at all. They did an alright amount of damage, but I could have probably used Rest against any one of his Pokemon and not ran into any issues. Okay, so that gives us access to Surf, so we have loads of TMs that we can use now. Audino can learn Surf if I need a water move, plus I can now get the TM for Thunderbolt if I want it. Now, if it was winter, I'd be able to get Substitute, and I'd imagine Audino would be great with it, but it's not winter. Maybe I could change my system clock later to get it. I might have to. Substitute and Rest is a crazy strong combo for something as tanky as we are. Maybe I'll do that once I get to the Elite Four, but I'll worry about that later. Alright, the Ice Gym made me laugh. I didn't even go to the Poke Center before fighting the gym leader, so I was low on power points, and despite having terrible luck with missing 90 accuracy moves multiple times, and hitting myself in confusion twice, we still won by just outlasting them and dishing out hits when we could. This Audino is kind of a beast. We're in one of the last big chunks of travel in the game, and I've been looking forward to this one for ages because we can finally get the TM for Shadow Ball. I've wanted this multiple times earlier in the run, but now we finally have our hands on it. I think this move is going to be a lifesaver in the Elite Four. It gives us way better type coverage against the kinds of Pokemon that we typically have issues with. Now let's go beat up Bianca. The last Bianca fight was super easy by just spamming Charge Beam, although we did get stalled out at the end for quite a while. I've noticed at this point that unless they have a strong fighting move, just about nothing deals much damage to us. I think the Dragon Gym and the final Charen fight might be easy as well. Yeah, the Dragon Gym was super easy. I just brute forced the whole gym with Return, although Secret Power probably could have done just about as well. This gym is never hard. The last Charen fight went great too. This time I picked up the Silk Scarf to get more damage out of our normal moves, but we probably didn't need it. I blame the fast leveling category, but we've been demolishing our rivals this run. Alright, last bit of travel until the Elite Four. Now, I don't want to get too overconfident since the Elite Four in Gen 5 is pretty hard, but we have been on such a roll that I'm feeling good about our chances. Yeah, we might lose to the fighting guy, but I bet we can beat the other Elite Four members, and if we can do that, then we have an easy place to grind for levels. We've got a lot of TMs for great moves that I can switch between when I need to, and the Ethers and Elixirs should keep the power points from being an issue. I think we stand a chance. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. Well, our attack is higher than I was expecting, so that's awesome. Although I don't know if 140 defense is going to be enough once we get to the Fighting Elite 4 member. I think that I could probably beat the Ghost and Psychic trainers. The Dark trainer is iffy, since he's got some good fighting moves, and I doubt that I can really beat the Fighting type one yet, but make your guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Ghost Trainer Chantel. It starts great with Kofagrigus not doing much damage to us, but Golurk got us with Curse, so although we were able to take it down and do decent damage against Chandelure, we can't out-heal the Curse damage with Rest. I think if I give it a few tries and he just doesn't use Curse, then we stand a chance. Okay, next try and he just used Brick Break instead. It hurt a bit, but at least we didn't get hurt by Curse. Chandelure wasn't too bad, although its Fire Blast hit incredibly hard. We still took it out fast. The last was Jellicent, and it was a nightmare. It does exactly enough damage that we can use Rest, wake up, hit it once or twice, and then have to use Rest again. I quickly realized that's an issue, so I used Attract so that she'd hit us less in our sleep, and it helped out a bit when I realized the other issue. She has Cursed Body, so sometimes our Shadow Ball gets disabled, leaving us unable to hit her until it wears off. And that happens a lot. Of course, you've probably noticed by now that she's got full restores, so this is an incredibly lengthy process. Beating her first 4 Pokemon took about 1 minute. Just beating Jellicent took 2. But hey, it's still a win. Second is Psychic Trainer Caitlyn. Now, this one is gonna look super easy, but I actually had to try a bunch of times. First thing I realized is that although Shadow Ball is alright here, it just doesn't compare to Return with a Silk Scarf. Second thing I learned is that if I don't open with Secret Power first, Return will drop most of them into red health, and then they're just gonna heal with a full restore. Now, even after figuring out the fight, and when we have to heal, it still wasn't necessarily that easy because so many Pokemon on her team spam Psychic. It's not that bad until you start getting special defense drops from it. If 2 of them happen, you're just doomed. It took quite a few tries, but as soon as I figured out a strategy that I was going for and didn't get unlucky with special defense drops, we won. Third is Dark Trainer Grimsley. Scrafty hit a solid Brick Break but went down in 2 hits of Return, and Crocodile is next so our attack is down. Her Earthquakes did a decent amount, but our second Secret Power paralyzed her so we just went to sleep. She heals back up with a full restore and does tons of damage with Earthquake before we could wake up. We had just enough health to use Attract, then go back to sleep. Thanks to Attract, we took way less damage while we were asleep this time, and managed to take her out when we woke up. That was way too close. Bisharp instantly got crit and fully paralyzed. Great start for us. We got hurt a bit with Night Slash, but her health was getting low when she used a full restore again. We re-paralyzed her, but we had to rest pretty soon after. Our power points are actually getting incredibly low at this point. We're almost out of rests. Eventually, we took out Bisharp with half of our health left. Last was Liepard, who was hardly able to hurt us. We attracted each other, then we two-shot her. That was a crazy fight. Fourth is Fighting Trainer Marshall. We really don't last long though. As soon as they start using fighting moves, we go down really, really fast. Okay, well, that sucks, but I don't think we're actually that crazy far off of standing a chance at this. The Psychic TM is post-game, but we hit really hard with Return and Silk Scarf, so I don't think we need it. Our effort values are maxed out, so let's just rare candy up a little bit. Okay, level 70. So I tried a bunch more times until I got lucky and Jump Kick missed on one, so we had way more health by the end of the fight. Problem is, Sock can't get one-shot thanks to his ability, so he hung on with 1 HP and knocked us out. Alright, that's brutal, but if I can get the miss to happen again, then maybe I could use a rest against Sock and survive. I mean, if he doesn't crit Karate Chop multiple times while we're asleep. It's a long shot, but I'll try. Okay, literally the next try, and Hammer Arm ended up missing us rather than Jump Kick, but the same result. We got to Sock, got to use Rest, then took him out. It was incredibly close, though. If they crit us, we'd have been done for. With the Elite Four down, all that's left is the final 2 fights with N and Getsus. I really don't know how this is gonna go, and I'm probably gonna end up changing my moveset, but let's just see what happens when I give the fight a first try. First, it's N. Zekrom hit hard with Fusion Bolt right away, but we hit harder with Return. He put up Light Screen before he went down. Next is Zoroark pretending to be Klinklang. It could have been crazy dangerous, but it missed Focused Blast, so we just one-shot it. I bet you that would have done a lot of damage to us. Next is the real Kling Clang, and we take it out fast, but it drops our special defense by 4 stages. That's brutal. Against Vanillux, we almost one-shot it. It missed Blizzard, thank God. Used a full restore, then we took it out. That was terrifying. After 4 special defense drops, Blizzard would have messed us up so bad. Caracosta missed Stone Edge as we did a bit of damage with Return, so I tried using Secret Power to paralyze him. No luck, but he missed again, so he got more hits in. 3rd time's the charm, and we finally took damage, but it wasn't so bad, so I used Rest. He finally started hitting moves, so we ended up getting beaten up pretty badly while we were asleep, but after waking up and paralyzing him, I went back to sleep. Paralysis let us get hit less times while asleep this time, so we could wake up and finish him off while healthy. Last was Archeops, who hits pretty hard with acrobatics but missed Stone Edge twice in a row, so we took it out. Man, Stone Edge did not pay off for N in that fight. I doubt the last 2 would have made us faint, but still. Last is Getsis. Right away, we hit Shadow Ball twice to make Cophagrigus faint, but I had to retry a few times to get him to miss Toxic. Right away, Hydreigon hits Focus Blast for big damage, but then we crit to take him out. Bufflant nearly takes us out with Head Charge, so I had to rest early to stay alive. We only survived because he used a full restore while we were asleep, so we woke up, got hit, then took him out. 25 health left. Right away we rest as Seismitoad came out, but of course we're taking hits while we're asleep. Thankfully he used Rain Dance, missed Muddy Water, and then we took him out super fast. Bisharp was doing a lot of damage with Night Slash, so I had to sleep to heal up. Naturally, he switches to Stone Edge, misses, then goes back to Night Slash. The fight goes on for ages because I have to keep resting, but eventually, I take him out with half of our health left. Last is Electros. We nearly one-shot it. It crits us to almost take us out. Then we finish it off. That was so close. That was a really fun run. Really well paced, for the most part at least, and so many of those late game fights ended up being really interesting. I'd love to use more Pokemon like this one. Its stats are just in this perfect range where you don't have to grind much. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge will be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Red, while only using that game's version exclusives. I've already looked at what the team is going to be for that, and is going to be super lopsided and weird. I'm actually really excited. I know for sure that's going to be a fun one. As always, I'm looking forward to your suggestions in the comments, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Now, as much as I'd love to stay with you for a very long time in this outro, I am rushing to get a whole lot of extra work done ahead of time, because at the time that I'm recording this, it's less than a week until Fatima comes home. That's my wife. She's off in France. She's been there for the last 4.5 months now for school, because that's how long semesters are over there. And if you want to become a French translator, it makes sense to go for a semester in France. I believe that's a requirement for a lot of translation fields. So she's going to be back in less than a week. By the time this video goes up, she'll have already been back for a while. But I am rushing to get this voiceover done and get this edit done because I want to get next week's voiceover and its whole edit done super early so that I have a light work week next week, because next week, for me, in real life, is the week that she gets home. So I kind of want a lot more free time that week. So I am going to edit so much today. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.